Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha and Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening everyone. So today is Monday the 13th of July 2020. This is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. I'm here with you all, as usual, every night to share some of the thoughts and teachings of the Buddha and how to apply in our day-to-day life. And thank you everyone, locally and internationally, those who are listening to the talks every night. And I hope that this is helping you to extend your understanding and helping you to deal with these situations in the life. Thank you Manish, thank you Margaret, David, Karina and everyone. So today in Scotland, weather seems like having a heat wave and feeling really hot. From the early morning, I'm feeling, swinging of mood, and also my physical body feeling very hot and headaches. And yet today we have managed to dismantle the scaffolding in the barn that we were working on. So that means that the ceiling part has been done. And so far for this 2 weeks time, we will be cleaning and decorating this barn for the ordination on the 25th. And this would be our first monk's ordination at the center. And now, ordination has been a really important, essential part and meritorious deeds in Buddhism, and people would like to join and a part with different forms and different ways, and if possible they would like to come and join the ceremony. Like in Thailand, there is a tradition that every Buddhist boys has to become a monk once in their lifetime. And there is a belief that once someone becomes a monk in their family, that helps for the 7 generations. Basically, 7 generations will not fall into the awful state, or so-called the naraka, the hell. And that's the reason why whenever any family members become a monk, they celebrate and people join with a rejoice. And in Sri Lanka, again, when someone is going to join the order, they will be decorated as like the prince, and will be a procession going into the chapel to become a monk. And all the family members will contribute towards the costs of the ordination. And not only that, and even in Thailand or in Sri Lanka, not only the family members will join or will contribute towards the cost, but also they will be happy to help the ceremony, preparing the ceremony, and any necessary things that needed to the temple. And after that they will be supporting and continuously. So that's why this is the same thing in Scotland. Despite we have a very limited number of Buddhists around in Aberdeen, there are those who would like to come to join the ceremony. And I have requested that if possible you can contribute, but physically, if it's possible, avoid coming. And if you really want to come, then bear in mind that wearing the masks and washing your hands And then keeping the social distance is very, very essential. And this is simply to deal with this coronavirus spread. Some people may say that this is just a fake news, and some people say this is the real news. And in America, I read last night one article on the news saying that there were a bunch of people thinking that this coronavirus is a fake news and spread the word simply to control or for some agenda, government's agenda. And as a result of that, they have organized this corona party and they went to join. But sadly, one of the very youngs got the virus and killed. Before he died, he even said that he thought it was just a fake and wanted to know whether it's true or not. So, the virus spread is fake news until you got it. So, on this basis, at a center, in a 2 weeks' time when we were going to have this ceremony, we do not want to be heedless and we want to be vigilant. So whoever is coming to join the ceremony, I strongly urge you all, if you are coming, to wear a mask, wash your hands, and try to keep the social distance, just for the sake of safety of yours and safety of others. It is always good to protect or prevent rather than repenting later on. So we have to understand the cause of it. Since we know that this is happening, and we should be vigilant and try to protect ourselves. And that is what we are learning. I have been explaining over these few days now, and when I looked at it on YouTube, I realized that I have almost covered these topics, and there are 10 talks already related to this first noble truth, this first discourse, and explained in different aspects of these teachings, including the second noble truth, which I have started 2 days ago. And today again, I'm going to speak on the same topic, the second noble truth. Those who are listening regularly would understand that what is the second noble truth and why this is going on, what's going on. In order to those who are just joining in to understand what we are talking is that we are focusing on the first discourse of the Buddha, that is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and so far I have explained in the Four Noble Truths, the first noble truth, the dukkha, and we are working on the second noble truth, the samudaya, or the cause of suffering. When I was looking at the teachings of the Buddha and compiled in particularly this second noble truth, one of the very famous monk in Thailand, his name known as Buddhadasa Bhikkhu, who was also recognized as the special human beings that UNESCO has recognized him as an important person in the world who has changed the view. He compiled a book called the Four Noble Truths from Buddha's Mouth. And in that, when I looked at it this morning, realized that in this second noble truth, all the Buddha's words that Buddha said about the second noble truth alone over 100 pages, without having any explanation, all purely what Buddha said. So over 100 pages on one single topic. So we are trying to understand that. Okay. So the second noble truth basically is, in a short term, greed, or this tanha, craving, or known as a thirst. And because of that thirst, we have defilements. And in that book, when I looked at it, it was divided into first the upadi, or the defilements, as a part of the defilements, this tanha. And the second is the upadana, arises due to the tanha. And tanha is the craving, or the thirst is the result of the sensations or the feelings. And there is a ahara, is a food. And this is again another very interesting topic about the ahara, the food that we look for. And all the food, different types of food. Buddha wasn't just talking about the material food. He was talking about the sense. He's talking about the consciousness. And that's also simply because of the craving that we have, this tanha, the thirst. And in terms of the object, this tanha again divided into 6 different ways. And in terms of greater sections, it's divided into 3. So-called sensual pleasure, and existence, desire to be exist, and desire not to be exist. So these are the basic ways of classification of this samudaya. When we look at the upadi, or the defilements, the Buddha said that this upadi, or the defilements, or the kilesa, or the defilements, which is basically in relation to the karma or the kamma, are engraved in our hearts and minds. So there are 3 types of defilements that Buddha was talking, arises due to this thirst, due to this craving, the tanha. Right? The first one is the latent defilement. It's a sleeping, it's like a subconsciously sleeping defilements. It's very difficult to shake it out. Very difficult to realize it. It's like in a psychology, it's in a subconsciously saved, so-called id. It's very difficult to realize it, and that's the reason why we have to practice the insight meditation. The more we practice insight meditation, gradually we will go into the deeper and deeper of our consciousness that has been saved, and letting it come out, and we'll see that and taking it out one after another. And why this has been so latent and sleeping in our consciousness is basically because of the so long that we are constantly wanting and constantly desiring the same thing again and again, and that's how it's been saved. It's like you're carving a picture or the art on a stone. In order to carve any signs or symbols or arts on a rock, you have to scratch it so many times until it's become visible. When it's become visible, it lasts for many, many years, maybe sometimes centuries. If that stone is like a granite, then it will last even many centuries. So like that, because it's been scratched so many times, and that's how anything that we repeatedly do again and again, like the thirst, right? We repeatedly do again and again, it will sleeps, latent defilement, that is known as a latent defilement. It's very, very difficult to overcome. But having said that, doesn't mean we cannot overcome. We will. Yeah? And the second is known as the pariyuthana. Yeah? That means internally active defilements. So this internally active defilements is basically when our eye sees eye object, or when we hear sound. Yeah, that moment, immediately we think about something. When we hear the sound, we think about it. This is the sound of this person or that person. And if you don't like it, I don't like this person. Or if we like it, then we like it. But still inside our brain, we're still thinking. So it's a mentally created or proliferation, or this so-called procrastination. It's going on inside our brain, inside our mind. And if this is become so active, then again what happens is that it becomes a cause for arising all the hindrances that hinder our progress in our practice, that hinder cultivating any good things. And this is again very important. That's why there is a first gatha in the Dhammapada says, Mano pubbangama dhamma manosetta manomaya manasache paduttena manasache paduttena bhasati va karoti va tatonang dukhamanveti chakkang va vahato padang. So here he's saying that mind is the forerunner. Yeah, mind is the forerunner, and everything that we think, everything that we act inside our mind, we are still keeping it, but we haven't reacted yet, physically or verbally. So we're saving in our mind. Mind being the leader, mind being the chief, mind is the forerunner. So we are thinking and keeping inside our brain, and with that, we become restless. Our mind become restless. We cannot make a right decision. We cannot make the proper decision because we're thinking too much. And with that, it prevents or it's become obstacles to do any good things or wholesome things. And that's why it's a part of the hindrances. So this again, the tanha is relating to this. The why it stops us to do the good things. And this is also simply because we think and we keep it in our mind. And that's why the second defilement, which is the internally active defilement, prevents from doing good things. And the last one is externally active defilements, known as vitikama kilesha. Externally active defilements. And this externally active defilements is basically we are reacting. The first we were thinking and keeping in our mind, and as a result we are not doing anything, but it hinders our mind, our actions. Whereas the second one is active. Externally is physically doing something, verbally saying something. Physically doing and verbally saying has been this is what's called under the influence of this thirst, this tanha, the craving, the desire. We act, we speak. And in this case, what happens is there is a saying that attachment to this form, this physical body, this aggregates, 5 aggregates develops. Because we are under the influence of this tanha, the thirst, the craving, the desire. So as a result, we develop that this is me, this is mine, I am, my making, I making develops. Holding on to the ego and the selfish views develops. And that's again been the cause for so many other troubles. Yeah? So that's the first thing arises in the external. So externally, that's why we behave. People behave indifferently just to project or just to show that how important I am. That's why I have known as ego or selfish person. And the second thing what happens is that we desire to do something, we desire to acquire something, whether it is wealth, whether it is fame, whether it is name, or whether it is just to get praise, so-called loka dhamma. And that's again under the influence of the tanha, the craving. We want to be someone, somewhere, something, somebody recognizing it. So we want to be a special person, special than anybody else. And that's also again under the influence of the tanha. And the same thing, under the influence of this craving and a desire, we think and we procrastinate. So that's why we need to be very mindful of how am I procrastinating to things, whether it is good or bad. Proliferating, restless mind, thinking too much. Few days ago when I was reading an article about the research on the mindfulness meditation, in the mindfulness meditation it says that a person who is not mindful and always thinking negativities about somebody, that he hasn't done this, she hasn't done this, it should be done like that, it should be done like this, he would not be able to come to terms to bring the harmony and peace. And that is known as abhisankharupati. And that's simply because of thinking. He has so many ideas and she has so many opinions that it should be done in this way or that way, but he himself physically or she himself physically will not do that. Will not do that. So that's why that's again under the influence of this tanha, the craving, it's lead to this suffering. It is all the other problems. And then the last one, but not on the list, is that we all would love to see beautiful things, hear nice words, wearing a comfortable clothes, wanting to smell nice things, and wanting to eat nice and lovely food and lovely tastes. And that simply again is a craving. And we can see that if something is not nice, not tidy, then again that generates anger or resistance. Or when we hear something with harsh word or unpleasant words, again it create. And that's again simply because of our thirst or the craving or the tanha is the base, is the root cause to arise those things. We have our own agenda, we have our own understanding, we have our own knowing, or so-called the personal world, that everyone should provide to satisfy my senses. So everyone should be behaving, everyone should be doing to make myself comfortable. So it's like a whole world is made for me, and everyone or everything is out there to satisfy my needs. So called a kama kunupati, right? Satisfaction in the five senses. And that is another reason why we have troubles and difficulties. And that's simply because the satisfaction of these five senses. And that's again a part of the thirst, the craving, the tanha, simply to satisfy our senses. So this has been a part of this tanha I cover on the Upadi, the first section of the Kilesa and Kamma is the base for arising of a tanha. And tanha is the base to arise, or the latent defilements to all the defilements to generate, and which has been the main root cause of all the troubles and all the reasons of why we have to be here suffering. Right? So I end here for tonight, and we'll continue tomorrow on the same topic until we cover and satisfied on the second noble truth. And thank you everyone for listening. Particularly tonight's talk, I would like to dedicate, the Hatha Rat from America sponsored for tonight's talk and the chantings to celebrate her son's 13th birthday, who just become a teenage. And he was once a novice at our center, and now he moved to the family moved to America, and tonight, since his birthday, they sponsor for this talk and the evening chanting. So with this, may the Kevin and the Hathairat's family have a safe, and may the Triple Gem bless them for a good and successful life, and may they have a good health and good wealth, prosperous, and may the Triple Gem bless them. And the same way, all of you, those who are listening the talk, also may you be happy, well, and safe. May the Triple Gem bless you. And thank you everyone for listening. And in a few minutes time we will have evening chanting and guided meditation. You are most welcome to join with us. If not, then we'll see you tomorrow for the talk at the 6:30. Until then, thank you and good night.